How's it going, everybody? I'm Steve, aka Steve Ninja, and welcome to my channel. So tonight I want to talk about the new Ozzy album, Patient Number 9. I think this is a big improvement to his previous album, which is Ordinary Man, which was released in 2020. And even though it's the same producer, Andrew Watt, I think the production is way better on this album. So Ozzy really doesn't have a band anymore. He's going to be 74 December 3rd of 2022. And I think even though I think he still wants to play live, some people may know he played at the LA Rams like halftime show earlier this year, and he had like these hired guns playing in his band, and they didn't look like really like metalheads or anything. They looked like they were just musicians, that kind of thing. So like I said, he doesn't really have a band, and I think his touring years are probably behind him now. And we're lucky we actually got this album because. We said when Ordinary Man was released, I think a lot of people thought that would be his last album. And luckily we got another one, and I think this album, like I said, is a big improvement to that one. And I want to talk about some of the tracks on this just because he got some really big all-stars in this album. A lot of the songs have like the guitar players that played like solos on the album, but besides those players, he has like Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age. He has Robert Trujillo from Metallica, playing bass. He also has Duff McKagan came back just like he did on Ordinary Man, played on that, and it has Chris Chaney. Some people may know who he is. He's kind of a hired gun that's played with a lot of different bands. He also plays bass. He's a bass player. It has Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and also the late Taylor Hawkins played on this as well. Which is kind of interesting. I mean, a lot of these guys are not like metal musicians, but it's just like a lot of us grew up with Ozzy, loving Black Sabbath and loving his 80s, Ozzy's 80s albums, that kind of stuff. And so a lot of these guys all grew up with Ozzy. and I think they really wanted to do this to really help him out, because he got a lot more guys to play on this album than he did on the last album. And it really improved the quality of the albums. But so like just talking about the tracks, so track number 1 is the title track. And it has a solo from Jeff Beck on it, which I never thought I'd ever hear Jeff Beck playing on an Ozzy album. But obviously these guys are British, and he's probably known Jeff Beck for a long time. So he did him a big favor, and Jeff Beck also plays on another song later. But I think one complaint I have with this song is I wish that the song runs at like 7 minutes and 14 seconds. It would have been nice if that opening like 42 seconds before the song really kicks in. Would have been nice if that would have been like its own separate track to where you can skip it if you wanted to get right to the song, because I think that song's really solid. So track number 2 is called Immortal, and that's actually played by Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. Plays a solo on that, which never thought I'd ever see Mike McCready play on an Ozzy album either. But obviously he grew up a big Ozzy fan, just like everybody else, that kind of thing. And track 3 is Parasite. This is one that Zakk Wylde played on. And it's like one of 4 where he does a solo on it. And I looked at like the credits on this album, and it looks like Zakk Wylde actually played on like most of the album, playing like rhythm guitars. But there's only 4 songs where he actually plays the solos on it. But you can really hear the quality of it. It sounds like something like from No More Tears, kind of that era of Ozzy on it. So I think that really adds a lot to this and gives it kind of the classic early 90s, 80s, early 90s sound that Zakk Wylde kind of brought to the band back then. Even though some of the albums after No More Tears weren't that great with Zakk Wylde played on them, but this one, I think the songwriting's much more solid than had been in anything else that they did with Zakk Wylde, after the No More Tears album. Track number 3 is No Escape From Now, which is played by Tony Iommi, which is really great. Former Black Sabbath bandmate, doing Ozzy a solid on that one. It has One of Those Days, played by Eric Clapton, which is amazing. It's track number 5. That's amazing that he would do this. I never thought that Eric Clapton would ever play on an Ozzy album either, but Ozzy's probably known him since the 70s. They're British guys that just kind of known each other forever. So track number 6 is called 1,000 Shades, and that's played by Jeff Beck again. And I love the solos on this. They just really stand out. They're really memorable. So track number 7 is Mr. Darkness, and that's played by Zakk Wylde again. Love the solo on that one. Track number 8 is Nothing Feels Right, which is Zakk Wylde again. And also track number 9 is Evil Shuffle, which is Zakk Wylde again. Number 10 is a return of Tony Iommi on Degradation Rules. Love that one. It has a harmonica from Ozzy on it, which is, not a big fan of harmonica. He did like The Wizard years ago on a Black Sabbath album, but not great that way. But I think the song's really good. It has a Dead and Gone. I like that one a lot. And God Only Knows on track 12 was really good. So track 13 is the final track on the album. It's called Darkside Blues. It only runs like 1 minute and 47 seconds, and it's Ozzy playing harmonica again on it. I think that one's probably my least favorite song on the album. So I would recommend everybody buy this album on CD, vinyl, stream it, listen to it on YouTube, before you buy it, just to get an idea of how it sounds. And, please consider subscribing to my channel and put a like on the video. And have a good night. Bye.